The world is watching as ceasefire talks begin in Qatar. President Biden hopes the deal will end the threat of an Iranian attack on Israel and lead to a broader peace.
While Israel has sent a high-profile delegation, Hamas is not attending. The terror group still refuses to consider surrender, calling it unthinkable. CBN's Julie Stahl has the story.
As Israel continues under threat of an attack from Iran, ceasefire talks begin in Qatar today without a Hamas representative. The U.S. and Europe are pressing hard for a ceasefire deal to end the Gaza war, free hostages, and possibly stop an Iranian attack.
All eyes and the hopes of millions in Israel and millions in Gaza are pinned on this Thursday on the possible talks about a deal.
President Biden is banking on a ceasefire deal he believes could bring the region back from the brink of war.
President Biden has spared no effort reaching out to world leaders to bring as much force behind this effort as possible.
Hamas is still holding to its position that it won't surrender power in Gaza.
A ceasefire is one thing and surrender is something else. It's unthinkable for a Palestinian to surrender.
Meanwhile, according to the New York Times, the U.S. is telling Israel there's nothing left to accomplish in Gaza since it's killed or captured some 14,000 Hamas fighters. They believe the terror group can't ever carry out another attack like October 7th. Retired Israeli Major General Yaakov Amidor disagreed, saying if Israel evacuates its forces now, within a year Hamas will be strong again. The IDF's top general says its forces in Gaza are still needed to pressure Hamas to surrender the hostages.
Hamas should know that every day they hold our hostages, it will be more bitter for them than the day before. We will make it worse until we manage to return the hostages.
In northern Israel, Iranian proxy Hezbollah continues to launch projectiles at the Jewish state. Iran itself came under a large-scale cyber attack, shutting down the country's ATM machines and causing major disruptions in financial institutions. Anti-regime activists reportedly hung signs blaming the regime's financing of regional wars for the shutdown. Back in the U.S., Columbia University's president resigned after months of turmoil over her handling of pro-Palestinian protests and threats to Jewish students on campus. Julie Stahl, CBN News, Jerusalem.
Well, even with U.S. and European nations determined to get a deal done, you can understand cynicism of many if Hamas is not even at the table, especially if they equate a ceasefire to surrender. A lot of hostages still being held, and you heard that Hamas officials say it's unthinkable. So we'll see what happens.